It was time once again for a Sunday in hell, the 122nd running of Paris-Roubaix. This time with a difference. One of the most famous debutants in recent years turned up, Tadej Pogačar. Could he become the first reigning Tour de France winner since Eddy Merckx to win the race? This is what he had to take on, leaving Compiègne, now a fixture since the 1970s. 30 sectors of cobbles, 53.5 kilometres, and of course those big three moments. Arenberg, Mont-Saint-Pével, and then the Carrefour de l'Arbre. Always a tough test. They don't call it hell for nothing. As well as the five-star sectors, the normal chaos in the race, and the 1.5 famous laps of the Roubaix Velodrome to finish things off. Once the flag was waved, with 175 riders on the start line, it was bound to be a nervy start. The wind was blowing, and there was always an opportunity to get up the road. 8 riders managed that early on. They would be Hajduk, Lascano, Hulgaard, Rutsch, Walker, De Bost, Townsend and Stockman. And they'd get as many as 3.5–4 minutes. Ineos Grenadiers led plenty of riders onto the first few sectors. Filippo Ganna, though, had an issue straight away. He would have to pace back on. Wout van Aert was behaving in a different way, riding off the back. And some, well, they were just trying to be riding at all. Connor Swift stuck in the mud. Van Aert regaining his place back in the bunch. And Ganna eventually coming back after having been delayed by a minute. And then, with 103 kilometres to go, the debutant, the man who many thought that it was a big risk for him to be here, would attack. Tadej Pogačar going off the front and proving that he was a man for all seasons, all races, yet again. Mathieu van der Poel would start to ride with him, and Pogačar, even off the cobbles, would make another move. He was looking for this to be one of the hardest Roubaix of all time. Into Arenberg. The usual cheers, all the drama, the big build-up. And guess who would be going off the front? Tadej Pogačar at it again, but there were plenty who were looking good. Mars Pedersen never far from the front. And Mathieu van der Poel looking to make it 3 from 3 and become only the 3rd man to win a hat-trick of back-to-back Roubaix. Wout van Aert will be distanced with just over 80 k's to go. And then Van der Poel would go again. The stop-start stuff, this was proving to be a big, very hotly contested race already. But when isn't it? Van der Poel, Pogačar, Pedersen. Philipsen was there as well, as was Bissegger. There were 5 superstars with 87 kilometres remaining. Van Aert was playing catch-up. And they had 30 seconds very quickly of a big gap. There were problems, though, for Pogačar. Would he be able to last the distance? Plenty of cramp and issues, but he would stay there for now. But with every cobbled sector, there was another attack. Pogačar looking brilliant and gliding over the cobbles as if he'd been riding them forever. Bad luck can also strike you, and it struck Mars Pedersen in cruel fashion. A front flat, and at this point, with the gap growing, he was on his way to being out of the game. Pogačar pushing on with 73 k's to go. Van der Poel building up and getting to him. And Jasper Philipsen would make it 3 of them, but this made the balance of power interesting. Pedersen was about to be caught by those chasing, the gap already over a minute. And one by one, the war of attrition and selection, be it by legs or mechanical, was continuing. Van Aert off the back and then back again. And as they got to Mont-Saint-Pével, Pogačar, Van der Poel and Philipsen were there once more. The 2 Alpecin riders surely able to play the numbers game against the world champion. Van der Poel would make an attack. Pogačar be forced to close it. This with 46 k's to go. And then when Pogačar rolled through and made his own move, it was goodbye to Jasper Philipsen. Philipsen had already been down in a crash before the cobbles even started, quickly losing time. Off of Mons-en-Pévèle, a quick chat on the radio from Van der Poel. Philipsen over half a minute behind. The decision was made. They both ride together. But Pogačar would continue to put the pressure on. Perhaps a little too much. Overcooking the corner, going to ground, and Van der Poel able to ride on. Following the motorbikes maybe, perhaps better cyclocross skills behind. The debate will go on, but it meant that Van der Poel could ride away. He'd have 20 seconds. The doubt was, though, could Pogačar close it with 36 k's to go? He was getting it down, 14 seconds with a gap on the next sector. And Pogačar could see his big opponent just a bit further up the road. But then another bike change, just as it looked anyway, as if the gap was growing. It would definitively grow here. Van der Poel still looking good. But would there be another twist in the tail? It was already quite the debut from Pogačar. He managed to get the gap down a little bit, just to below 50 seconds, and a puncture with 15 kilometres to go on the Carrefour de l'Arbre was a problem for Mathieu van der Poel. But it was dealt with well, it was dealt with quickly, and the gap continued to stay above a minute. Van der Poel was struggling, though, in terms of his fueling. Everybody was on their knees. This was a real fight. Behind, Van Aert was looking for the podium. He was quickly followed by Pedersen. And after 5.5 hours, Mathieu van der Poel was able to enter the arena and celebrate. Despite hurting, he saw the belt, he heard it, and was able to enjoy the last lap. It will be a hat-trick in hell. Not only able to stand the heat, but remaining ice cold. 3 from 3 for Mathieu van der Poel, the modern king of the Roubaix cobbles. Octave Lapise, Francesco Moser, and now Mathieu van der Poel with 3 wins in 3 editions. But surely Tadej Pogačar must return now to try and claim a Roubaix cobblestone. He was second. Mars Pedersen again showed that he was one of the men of the spring. A monuments man without a monument yet. Pedersen finished third. Mathieu van der Poel now just 1 away from the record. Bonen and de Vlaming await him on 4. It's 3 for Mathieu van der Poel and 3 in a row for Alpecin de Koning. This time pushed all the way to the limit. The giants of the modern age fighting it out in Paris-Roubaix, the oldest of old races. It sometimes seems like a task from a bygone age, but the modern heroes did their job. Mathieu van der Poel winning by 1:18 ahead of Tadej Pogačar, Mars Pedersen finishing third. And another cobblestone for Mathieu van der Poel. He's going to run out of space for them all on the mantelpiece. What a podium, what a race. Paris-Roubaix never disappoints. From 1896 to 2025, it always leaves us entertained.